What up, everybody? My name is Lo, aka Near the Hero, and welcome to another Charged Shot in Progress, where we take a look at early access titles and I'll show you what's up. I got a copy of the Darwin Project. So this is a battle royale. It's a battle royale title. So if you're familiar with PUBG or Fortnite or what is it, H1Z1, stuff like that, things that have battle royale type modes, that's pretty much what this game is, and only that. So this game does quite a few things differently though, so I just kind of wanted to go over a couple of things before I actually jump into a match, because that's one major difference between this and other battle royale modes, is that matches can go fairly quickly. Sometimes they can last a bit, but for the most part, they can go fairly quickly. First of all, because matches are much smaller. Matches consist of 10 players as opposed to 100, and the map is much smaller, and there's just various, the gameplay is just very like quick and almost arena-like. So anyways, let's take a look at these options real quick. So we have video options. They're pretty bare bones, which is interesting because I think this is currently only available on PC. I could be wrong, but however, they may have just simplified the settings just for the sake of optimization, things like that. But if you do like to tinker with settings and stuff like that, there's not too much to mess around with. I can run it at high settings. I have a GTX 960, and I can run it at high settings, but it does start to chug a little bit once I connect to a match, so I just leave it around medium. Let's see, so you have sound, all that kind of good stuff. Pretty standard fare. Gameplay, harvest on melee attack. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So that's, you hit the melee attack button in order to harvest instead of using the interact button. Auto look camera, yeah, I want that on. You'll see where this comes in later, hopefully. And then you got mouse and keyboard settings, all that good stuff. So you can get the sprint, crouch, standard third person kind of shooter type of controls and whatnot. So another interesting thing about this game is that every player that spawns into a match, you have the exact same equipment. You start with, well, you don't start with this. You start with this, actually. You start with the bow, an arrow, and a couple of arrows, I think 4. And then you also have an axe, which looks like you can kind of change like the skin of it. So I'm assuming they're going to be adding skins and stuff like that for your weaponry and whatnot as time goes on and as the game progresses further. Down here, there's even an option to change your gender, so you can change it to a female avatar, and that is coming soon. Again, this game's in early access, so, a lot of things are yet to be added, but what's there so far visually, well, I mean, as far as customization, there's not a ton of it. I mean, you have tan, brown, dark, and pale. That's not even really that dark. Anyways, so then you got the hair color. It's pretty standard stuff. I'm assuming they'll be adding more stuff later on as you go. I'm assuming, since it's a battle royale type of title, probably loot box kind of situation where you buy them, open them, you have a chance to get stuff. So yeah, let's actually just get into a match. Oh, before I do, I wanted to show you the crafting wheel. So this is kind of like your loadout before you set this here before jumping into online. So again, everybody has a bow and arrow, so you are able to craft different types of arrows. You can choose what type of arrow you want to craft. These are all gonna require the same amount of crafting material. Again, the crafting system in this, well, not again, because I didn't mention it in the first place. There is a crafting system in this game during matches, and it's really quick. It's really arcade-like. So a lot of these things aren't going to have really high requirements as far as what to craft. Like a basic arrow, it's just one piece of wood. Same with the hunter arrow, the fire arrow, and the berserker arrow. And these various arrows have different effects. So the hunter arrow, if you hit someone with that, it reveals them on your map. So it's just kind of like it highlights them on your HUD for about 10 seconds. So that's cool. It's kind of a different way to change up your playstyle. You have fire arrows, which does tick damage. You have berserker arrows, which gives you unlimited stamina for 10 seconds. So this is an interesting one. I think this one can be used offensively and defensively. Like you can hit someone with it and then run them down, hit them again with an arrow. Or you can just, hit someone with an arrow and then just run away. He who fights and runs away, as they say. So there's also various traps you can craft. There's a bear trap. That basically roots whoever gets caught in it. You have a smoke bomb, which makes it hard to see. A cage trap, which just literally just puts a trap around somebody. They can just looks like they can destroy this with axe swings and arrow hits. You have a tripwire, which let's see, it is what it does is reveal somebody on the map for everybody else. So that's a good for kind of misdirecting unwanted attention from, oh, right here, just as it says right there, just misdirecting unwanted attraction. You can rig a chest. These are loot chests, so it's basically just like a trap chest. And then there's snowballs. Snowballs, what those do is they increase your cold level. So you have a cold meter, a stamina meter, and just standard health. So when you get hit by the cold, or if you're just running around in the outside, not near a heat source, you start to get colder. And the colder you get, the more life you start to lose. If your coldness runs out or fills up all the way, it will start to damage you. So that's one interesting thing about this game, and you'll see it as we jump into a match. Let's see. So yeah, so these 3 slots are for traps, so I can have up to 3 different traps. This is kind of the basic loadout, so I'm going to stick with that. Down here, these are powers. So you have a radar, which lets you see people. You have a detector, which lets you see loot boxes and robotic deers, which I'm assuming is some kind of, that's a source of electronics. You have camouflage, an energy shield, which is iframes, invincibility frames, a power leap, which is a super jump. You have an arena. This one's interesting. So it's kind of like if someone's chasing you or whatever, then you can just kind of throw this down and you're both kind of trapped in there. It's kind of like it's almost like a Thunderdome kind of situation, like holographic Thunderdome. So that's pretty cool. And this one is clearly more offensive. This is a turret, and these can be destroyed in one hit, but however, it can be useful, especially if nobody sees it, if no one's looking for it, and you can get the jump on somebody, and, they can... It's another form of distraction, so it can be used kind of defensively too. You have a teleport, which is just, basically that's what it is, you teleport. So then you have those 3 slots for powers, and then you have armor slots here, or wearables. And then you have the boots. You have boots that make you run faster. You have boots that make your footsteps lighter, and they when you run around in the snow, you leave footprints. This is a winter map you're going to be running around in. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned that going in. Probably not. But it's like a winter map. There's deep snow, so when you walk around, you're going to leave footprints. So the ninja boots, they prevent that. You'll have the hunter boots, which they let you move faster, and even more so when you pick up a clue. So when you craft anything else, anything in this game, you leave behind evidence. And then what you can do is you can inspect that evidence, and then whoever crafted that thing and left that evidence will show up on your HUD. It's a really cool mechanic, and it's just really neat. So this, so this will let you move faster after you search for evidence. Then you have evader boots, and then you actually move faster when someone is tracking you. So that's pretty interesting. Let's see, you have fur coats. These are various coats that they, of course, protect you from the cold, and they have various effects. You got a regular fur coat, detective coat. Let's see, tracking. Also, your tracking from clues lasts longer. Oh, nice. You have a runner coat, boosts your stamina boosts stamina and resistance to cold. And it looks like this one probably makes you harder to see. A favorite for both creeps and sneaks. Nice. And then you have axes. Axe sharpener, so you just do more damage. This one allows you to chop down trees faster with it. And then you have the scavenger axe. Recover your health when looting dead inmate or robotic deer. Oh, interesting. The circle of life or something. I actually might go for that one. Throw that in my crafting wheel. I'm going to leave everything else pretty standard for the most part. The only other thing I changed was the turret, just because I like to be a little more offensive. Or I try anyways. So yeah, let's jump into a match. Let's see here, solo. So right now there's only solo, I believe. Just left to unlock. And then there is a show director mode. Oh, that was one thing. That's one big interesting thing. So the show director is basically, for those of you who are familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, I'm actually really not that familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, but this is kind of like your kind of dungeon master kind of role. So you basically take control of like a little drone type of thing. You could fly around, and you can either give inmates stuff. These are all inmates that are participating in these matches. You can either give them things, or you can like troll them by like, for example, one of the matches I played, I only played a couple of matches, like literally a couple. I think is that my level or how many matches I played? Either way, The last match I played, somebody actually got marked by the show director. So everybody, this one person showed up on everybody's HUD and he couldn't see anybody else. So it makes for some really interesting matchups and stuff like that. And it looks like there's some connectivity to Twitter and or Mixer as well. So that's pretty cool. I'm wondering if they have some kind of integration as far as like a voting system or something like that. I believe they do. I'll look into that. But for now, let's jump into a match. Okay, so I'm doing post commentary over this section just to kind of give my thoughts on the game because, to be honest with you guys, I didn't really do that very well with my first couple of rounds. So it's kind of inherent to the kind of battle royale sort of genre. The skill ceiling is pretty high, so I'm not very good yet. It's one of those things where you have to kind of play a bunch of matches in order to, you know, get good. And I went up against some really good players. Either that or I was just really that bad. Either way, the mechanics were good. As far as like the cold mechanic, I thought that was a really interesting sort of a mechanic because it gives you another thing to worry about aside from other players, because there really is, aside from me, there's only 9 other players. And in addition to that, the show director actually helped me out a couple of times because I guess they noticed I was struggling. So there was an occasion where I got wounded and then he had healed me up, and another occasion where I was starting to freeze to death and he just gave me a little quick warm-up thing. So that's kind of part of the show director sort of mode. It's an actual mode you can unlock after playing so many rounds, and it basically just kind of lets you host the match, I guess, and then it lets you give players advantages or disadvantages. You can mark other players on the map so that people see them, or you can just give players little boosts like a damage boost or a little warm-up like I said, or even some healing. So all in all, this game has a lot of promise. It really does. I just kind of wish I was better at it, but it's one of those things that only comes with time. So if you are into battle royale modes, and if you're into the battle royale game mode rather, and if you're looking for something that's a little different than the usual spin, like if you're tired of PUBG and if you're tired of playing Fortnite battle royale, then definitely check this out, because it does enough things that are different in order to make it interesting, if that makes any sense. I mean, the fact that all the players have the same loadout starting out, that's one thing that I found really interesting. It kind of puts everybody on the same kind of playing field. They all have to learn the same 2 weapons, which is the bow and the axe. So yeah, that was the Darwin Project. Hopefully you guys enjoyed some of that fail footage I showed you, and then I actually spectated for the rest of the match because I just wanted to watch other players and see what they did. And that's another thing, it's just watching other players that are better than you just kind of pick stuff up. So yeah, I don't know, this is one game I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to keep trying to get better at it, but you know, every now and then you get hit with that tilt, and then you just got to put it down for a little bit. Very much like Battle Royale is, though. So anyways, if you're interested, it is available for early access currently on Steam. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. This is Low with Charge Shot, and until we meet again, enjoy your games.